It's a very political decision now. It's a tribal decision to some degree. And you hope for leadership that actually will do something, recognizes the problem. And America's an incredible society, rich. We got everything going for us, but that doesn't mean we can just print money indefinitely, but as debt. And it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
The difference between our dreams of financial security and reality is striking. In America, many people dream of having enough money to feel comfortable and secure. They imagine earning about $233,000 each year. But when we look at the real numbers, things are quite different. In 2001, the average amount of money workers earned in a year was only around $75,203. This big difference between what people hope for and what is happening shows us something truly important. People want more than just enough money to get by. They want to live without worrying about their finances all the time. Sadly, most Americans are struggling to reach this point. A huge 72% say they don't feel financially secure in their current situations. Even worse, more than a quarter of people believe they never will be financially stable. Something interesting happened after the pandemic. People owed less money and had more money saved up. But at the same time, they were more worried about what might happen in the future. They wondered if they could keep their jobs and have enough money for retirement. Many people live paycheck to paycheck, meaning they don't have extra money left over after paying their bills. This makes it tough for them to achieve even small financial goals. This struggle is something that most people don't talk about openly, but it's a big issue. If you feel unsure about your financial future, you're not alone, and it's probably not your fault. The question is, why has it become so hard for people to feel financially secure in America? The answers are not simple, and many things play a part. Affordability.
We've always talked about the American dream. The American dream, of course, was that anyone with education and good habits and hardworking could move themselves from really the bottom up to at least a decent life. And there's been a lot of that. I mean, the American dream has been very real for millions and millions of people over the years. But there's been an American nightmare that has accompanied that, and that's where people that equally have tried to get educated and worked hard and had good habits have found themselves living a life that's been on the edge throughout their entire lives, and the same for their children. And America can do better than that. You want to market.
Let's do some budgeting and explore the financial landscape of working Americans during the second quarter of 2023. People who work full-time in the United States earn a median monthly income of around $4,400. This might sound like a good amount, but the reality changes when we consider all of the deductions that come into play. Once taxes and benefits are taken out, the average worker ends up with only about 75.2% of their original wages. This brings down their monthly earnings to approximately $3,308. Unfortunately, this amount isn't enough to cover the costs of living in today's America, which has become quite expensive. The cost of living has risen significantly in various areas, especially in healthcare, higher education, and owning a home. These expenses have gone up a lot, making it hard for people to make ends meet with their median incomes. Surprisingly, amidst these rising costs, there hasn't been much talk about increasing wages, which have only gone up by a mere 15%. Looking at the essential needs that Americans face, the cost of renting a place to live stands out as a major concern. The median monthly income in the US as of June 2023 is a staggering $2,029. Shockingly, this already takes up more than 46% of the median income before taxes. Most experts consider spending more than 30% of your monthly income on rent as a burden, and unfortunately, many people are in this situation. Turning to owning a home, the median monthly mortgage payment for a 2,400 square foot house is about $1,957. Following the widely accepted guideline of spending 28% or less of your income before taxes on mortgage payments, this leaves just about $1,232 for your median monthly earnings. Housing costs are a major topic of conversation with households and consumers. Especially those under 40 are worried about how much they must pay for housing, whether rent or a mortgage. The uncertainty caused by inflation affects not only their housing situation, but also other parts of their lives. Big cities, which used to be seen as full of opportunities, have become very expensive. To feel financially comfortable in places like San Francisco, New York, and Southern California, people think that they must have a net worth of over $1 million. The high costs have led some to consider moving to more affordable areas. Interestingly, this movement has caused a surprising twist. Places once considered cheaper alternatives are becoming more expensive, making it harder for people to escape the financial pressure.
State front.
Well, I think that the people who lend too much money should take loss, and they're getting properties handed back to them now. I mean, within the last month or 6 weeks. I mean,
banks are.
Yeah, I mean, they got some office buildings in Los Angeles, and Blackstone walked away from something. I mean, and if you get a non-recourse, everybody goes in the real estate business is told the first rule, the second rule, the third rule is never sign your name to anything.
Based on the latest information from the Bureau of Labor Stats, Americans are spending about $690 each month on food. This is more than what the experts thought. People are also paying about $96 each month for their health costs. When you add these together, renters spend about $2,816 monthly, and homeowners spend about $2,744. That's a lot of money, and is a big part of what people earn. It's 85% for renters and over 82% for homeowners. This doesn't even cover other important stuff like transportation, childcare, and paying back the money you owe. It gets even harder when utility bills, car insurance, and home insurance keep increasing. Trying to manage all of these costs while working towards personal goals is tough for a lot of Americans. People who are good at managing money, they say you should use about 50% of what you earn for important things, 30% of things for what you want, and 20% for saving or paying back money. But things have changed a lot, and now people spend 75% of what they earn on important stuff. This means that there's not much left for what they want or save for later. It's different for everyone, depending on where and how much you make. Lots of Americans are finding it hard to handle their money because it just feels like too much. It's like trying to drink water from a fire hose. Credit is expensive.
As a general matter, as a one piece of specific financial advice, I would say, avoid credit cards. Just forget about them. We're in various businesses that issue credit cards. The American public loves credit cards. But if you start revolving debt on credit cards, you're going to be paying 18 or 20%. And you can't make progress in your financial life going around borrowing money at 18 or 20%. You can make a lot of money by lending it out at 18 or 20% over time.
Many families struggle to set up their preferred financial plans and often find themselves reacting to cover basic expenses. Starting in March 2022, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates 11 times to control inflation. Unfortunately, over a third of Americans feel these rate increases make it harder to manage their money comfortably. These higher interest rates make various financial activities, like buying homes, more difficult to afford. Imagine someone who wanted to buy a $375,000 house only 2 years ago. Back then, they paid less than $2,000 each month. But now, they must pay around $3,400 monthly for the same house. The only thing that changed was the interest rates. These higher rates also impact other financial decisions, like buying a car or carrying a balance on a credit card. Even people with good credit now face credit card rates of about 20.5%, while others might deal with rates as high as 30%. This sudden increase in borrowing costs is especially tough for people with lower incomes. In the past, these groups could easily get loans and credit when the economy was stable, and there were plenty of jobs. But now, the financial landscape has changed. People and small businesses find it harder to get credit as lenders have become more cautious. This shows how the financial system is changing and creating new challenges. Credit has become an essential lifeline for many Americans, stemming from the stark reality that their savings fall short of covering significant expenses. The financial landscape is laden with the burden of insecurity. with over 40% of Americans attributing their unease to a lack of retirement funds or emergency savings. For countless individuals, the subjective sensation of financial well-being hinges on the presence of a safety net, a reservoir of funds poised for the unexpected. Financial advisors often advocate for a cushion equivalent to about 3 months' worth of income, a target that looms so imposingly that it often evades contemplation. Unfortunately, more than half of today's Americans find themselves without the buffer of 3 months' emergency expenses. Among them, 22% confess to having no emergency savings whatsoever. This vulnerability isn't only vulnerable to unemployment. A $1,000 emergency expense can destabilize one's financial equilibrium. If the perpetual rhythm of expenses outpaces income, amassing substantial savings becomes a distant aspiration. Many households adopt the act of saving, but the fruits of their efforts vanish as swiftly as they appear. Income disruptions and unforeseen expenditures consistently hijack their burgeoning savings, leaving them perpetually shortchanged. Astonishingly, 36% of the population holds more credit card debt than emergency savings, with Experian indicating an average debt load of $96,371, encompassing credit cards, auto loans, and mortgages. Debt wields this paradoxical power. While it can act as a conduit for financial resources and, at times, offer rewards through credit card schemes, it's also a pitfall. Neglecting to retire debt within a billing cycle thrusts individuals into the difficult domain of double-digit interest rates, undermining other facets of personal finance. The crux of the matter lies in a question: how can this cycle be dismantled, enabling people to not only break free from the clutches of debt and daily necessities, but also channel their attention towards building an emergency fund and securing their retirement? The quest for stability beckons. Solving financial security.
90% of the income or more of the people that were speaking would disappear. So there's really a little too much of us to expect of human nature that people will explain why they really aren't adding any value to what you can do by yourself, or actually I hate to use the example, but you can have monkeys throwing darts at the page, and
The United States' economic stability is closely tied to how financially secure its people are. This connection is shown through everyday things like prices going up, inflation, and how many jobs are available, the job market strength. We can see how well the economy is doing by looking at data like how confident people feel about spending money and how they view the situation. These are like mirrors reflecting the overall health of the economy. The big lesson from the COVID-19 pandemic is that the economy relies on regular families. The economy is stronger when families are stable and safe because people spending money is a really important part of it. The government's rules greatly affect how safe people should feel with their money. Social Security is one of these important rules. It helps older people not become poor when they stop working. Even though it's not the only way people get money when they stop working, it's a big help for many. But even this rule needs change to keep working well. For jobs, it's not only up to the individuals. Employers also have a big job in ensuring people can save money for later and be safe in emergencies, like with insurance. But what they can do is affected by what the government says about how much things cost and what kind of help they have to give. To be financially secure, families must show that they want it and they are ready to work for it. Both big strategies from everyone and the small choices each family makes are needed to fix this big problem. Everyone wants to do well with money, so they must be smart. This means saving money in case something bad happens and planning for when they are not working anymore. People who help with money, financial advisors say, they talk about how it's so important to have clear goals for what they want to do, both in their personal life and at work. These goals help them know where they are going. Another very important thing is to plan how to use their money. Keeping track of what they earn and spend and using their money smartly is how they can reach their goals.